r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. Parents of Reddit. How do you feel when your kid brings back a girlfriend boyfriend? How do you decide whether you like them or not? My 4-year daughter introduced me to the 5-year neighbor kid as a BF. She told me he's really good at running fast and he appreciates snails as much as she does. Needless to say, this is a keeper. What is it about fast boys? I remember in grade school the fastest dudes had every girl swooning over them. My daughter, 13, wanted me to meet her first real boyfriend. I was nice and pleasant, but I knew it wouldn't last cause he was all looks and no brains. Of course, as junior high relationships go, it was about a 2-month ordeal. I think all parents should try and be cordial, unless the person feels like a serial killer or something. Met my daughter's boyfriend the other day. First boyfriend. She's 17. He's 18. I must admit I was a bit nervous and I remember very well being 18 and what I was thinking wanting. But had a word with myself to be welcoming and warm and to treat him as an equal. My daughter's friend and therefore my friend. Anyway, he's a nice young man so it's all good. But to answer your question, I guess if he's nice I'll like him, if he's a dong I won't. Either way, as far as my daughter is concerned, I'll like him. When they interact and help out the rest of the family. When my daughter didn't understand her homework and then her sister's boyfriend helped her, it showed how much he actually cared. I like to think I would do this, but I probably wouldn't understand the homework either. Not a parent. But this was my experience with my mother when I was a teen. So, as a teen, my mother pulled me to the side and gave me the gay talk. You know, the "I'll still love you even if you were gay" talk. I asked her why she thought I was gay and she said it was because I never bring any girls to the house. Guess what I did within the next few days? I brought a girl in the house. Guess what my mother did? She kicked her out and gave me a lecture on how inappropriate it was to bring girls to the house. Yes, it makes no sense. Well, next time, bring a boy home. My mother-in-law assumed I was some sort of player when I first met her before my first date with my wife. Even told my wife that she assumed I went on lots of dates back at school. Joke's on her. I spent the entirety of my freshman year before I met my wife, enjoying the sweet internet speed of my dorm room and playing the shit out of Halo 3, Mass Effect 1 and 2, picking up drunk dorm mates from house parties at 3 AM, and going on exactly 0 dates. After years of getting to know my Mill, she just didn't want her daughter to get into a long distance relationship. Then end up moving out of state with me if we got married and I was still there, which ended up happening. Whoops. How's the relationship now? And more importantly, did you let David stay with Cerberus? My daughter just started dating. She was mortified when I picked them up and asked if everything was Gucci. Next time ask if they're having a ye time. Doesn't work in the sentence. Makes it better. My mother has always been accepting of everyone I've ever dated, but realistic about their faults. My family immediately welcomes them with open arms, but just warns me if they seem off for whatever reason. I think it's a decent system. This is how my mom operates. She let me make a lot of mistakes, but always told me what she saw from her perspective and her concerns. However, it always ended with, "As long as you're happy, that's what matters." When my oldest daughter introduced her first serious boyfriend, he was an awkward kind of guy, was pretty unremarkable, but he got super animated about topics that interested him. I had a chat with him about my daughter. He got animated. They've been married for 9 years. Good guy. Works hard. Is a staunch advocate for his wife. And I love his smile when he looks at their kids. My oldest son's first girlfriend was not an emotional investment he was willing to make. She was pretty, but that was it. I scolded him. He got defensive. Almost married her. But she made the mistake of asking my son about my money. About a year later he brought home a beautiful, talented woman with an electric personality and more self-confidence than even my cockasier eldest. And I was never more proud of him than when he took that dive. Their kids are incredible. Great couple. My second daughter just introduced us to a college friend of hers. He seems like a decent person. He's young, but he's got a head on his shoulders and seems able to conduct himself politely. I'll need more time to figure it out. My youngest son had a high school sweetheart girlfriend that's now his college girlfriend. When I first met her she was 9. So I'm pretty enamored with her. Her parents have babysat and house sat for us. And they're all good people. Edit. Thanks for the silver and gold. Kind strangers. Was pretty unremarkable. But he got super animated about topics that interested him. I had a chat with him about my daughter. He got animated. They've been married for 9 years. Best line I've read today. Edit. I had a story about a great future son-in-law who impressed me with his basic decency at the age of 19. Reddit came to the astonishing conclusion that he and my daughter were having sex. Good thing I posted here or I never would have figured that out. If you don't know any synonyms for sex, read on. Are you sure he wasn't just honest and helping her slack off? I have always instinctively known within seconds of meeting them. I've liked all but one of my son's partners. And the one I didn't feel right about was the one who screwed him up. My dad is the same way. But he never ducking told me. After breaking off a 2.5-year relationship and a year of being single I finally met my current GF. Only then my dad casually mentioned he saw red flags early on for all the shit that broke me and my ex up. WTF man? Tell me this shit. Edit. Yes, I know sometimes it can go wrong when people try to point out red flags. It can be done well though. And me and my dad have the kind of relationship where we would rather the other said something than stay silent. Mostly though it's more that I wish I had seen them because they were not subtle. I'm not a parent but my GF's father hates me for some reason. It's been 2 years already. It's gotten better since then though but still. Edit. Thanks everyone for your comments and support. I see that a lot of people are going through a similar situation. I know it will get better. If anything when we can finally live together on our own. Stop taking all his booze and having loud sex in his bed. Not a mother but I'm a sister to a lovely brother. He had brought some girls in house in his teenage years. And instantly I would know if I liked them or not. The first one he brought was super rude with me and my parents. She would eat alone in the bedroom when we are having dinner. Force my brother to be mean to me. Etc. Few months after the relationship ended in a really bad way. After that brought some girls. Didn't talk so much with them but they were nice and sweet. Didn't last long. Less than 2 months. The last one he brought. When I talked to her, just one thought came to mind, she's the one. 5 or 6 years later. Here they are. Living together. Edit. Typos. She ate alone in the bedroom? Holy shit, I don't even know what to say. I'm so incredibly sorry for your loss. Not a parent so I called my mom. She stated and I quote, I like all of them until they give me reason not to. Then I never tell you whether I like them or not. So I don't influence your own judgment. I cannot choose for you. Although sometimes I wish I could. MRS. Unappreciated son. Edit. Spacing. Edit 2. Yes, I'm aware that my mother appreciates me as many pointed out lol. It's not her that's the concern. But I appreciate you guys sticking up for my mom. Even when it's not directed to her. Thank you guys for pointing it out. Hopefully this fixes it. Edit 3. I like your mom dude. It's about respect. If she treats him right. And compatibility. On the other end. Not her dad. But my girlfriend's roommate is this old grizzled marine dude. She told me that he liked me because I didn't try to get him to like. Which apparently most people do. I was just myself and acted naturally. Which he appreciated. Just be yourself and the people that will like you. And the people who won't. But always be respectful. You bought him a box of crayons. Admit it. My stepdaughter's boyfriend came into my house and we were talking about computer games and he had the audacity to tell me why Red Dead 2 was better than God of War. In my house. But respect to the lad for that. He stuck to his principles and a year later still argues with me about gaming stuff. You should have started calling him boy in your best Kratos voice. Nothing asserts dominance like a good Kratos impression. Here's my dad's take. He liked my ex-BF at first because he was initially polite and friendly, and I was very happy with him. However, my dad started to notice red flags later on and his opinion of him changed. For example, when we came back to my place from a day trip, he had sulked because I didn't show the enthusiasm he wanted about his favorite landmark. My dad told him that he should forgive me, but he still would not stop whining. My dad later told me that his reaction was blown out of proportion. Basically, my dad would decide whether or not to like any guy I bring home based on the way he treats me. Edit. I did not show zero interest in what my ex liked. I just wasn't as over the top excited as he wanted me to be. Basically, my dad would decide whether or not to like any guy I bring home based on the way he treats me. Imagine that. What a radical idea. Not a parent, but my parents have talked about my boyfriends. They liked most of them, but my dad said there was one he specifically didn't like right away. I dated that guy for over a year before he cheated on me with his ex and left me for her. My dad said he didn't like that guy because he reminded him of his ex-wife who did the same thing to him. Some people just have good gut instincts. My eldest is 15. And boys in high school can be gross. The way they speak to girls, and girls to boys, is just so far out of line it makes me ill. But her boyfriend is respectful to her and her family. Most importantly, they're the same brand of weird. They FaceTime 19 hours a day, I swear. But yesterday they had an entire conversation about penguins, both using the same weird fake Russian type accent. He's a safe place and without very good cause. I'd never get in the way of that. That sounds very cute. Hopefully things continue to do well between them. Well, they've all been fine so far. Except for one. It's the only time I've ever gotten mad enough to kick someone out of my home. He tried to get me to believe that he didn't know what a potato was. That was a blast from the past. I love to meet his girlfriends. In a very self-serving way. I think his ability to attract charming ladies reflects the quality of my parenting. On one hand, I like whoever brings joy to his life. On the other hand, I prefer to be around polite and well-spoken people. A bit of nervousness on her part indicates that meeting me is important to her. Knowing that being nervous about meeting family can be endearing is good to hear. As somebody who is a very nervous person in general. Well, my mother's decision is 90% based on if she's Catholic or not. Can't say I'm a fan of her method. Lol, same here. Gonna be a rough one when she meets my family and mom's like, nah. Gonna support my girl the whole way through though. Easy decision. Edit. Change pronouns to clear up possible confusion. I've given my daughter the best advice I can give her, and she's leaps and bounds better at relationships than a lot of older adults I know. She's nearly drinking age where we're from. That's not to brag though, as a lot of what I told her was don't do the same dumb shit I did. Well, that and to always know her worth. The moment someone makes her feel less important than they are, they get the boot. She doesn't try to fix people she dates. You are who you are, and if you're not right then oh well. A direct quote. Honestly, it's something she said to me once that helped me be better off when dating. Married now. I'd made the remark that I hadn't understood some sappy things people do when they're in love. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, that's because you've loved but never been in love. She wasn't wrong, and as much as I sometimes hate to admit it, she rarely is. That caused me to examine the relationship I was in under closer scrutiny than I ever had before. My husband today is the most amazing husband and father we could have asked for, but never realized, until now, that we deserved. It's about respect. If they're treating my kid, spouse or myself like shit in our own home, how do you think I'll feel? Some politeness goes a long way, and of course it's a two-way street. Chances are you also know your kids well enough to notice if this person is a total 180 from their usual friends or previous self or whatever. Sometimes a red flag, but not always. You've likely had experience with them bringing over someone from the wrong crowd, and this is honestly not that different. It's all about how you see them treat others, but since they're probably teenagers, you can't read too much into things like what they want to do when they grow up and so on. I'd hope by your 40s or whatever you'd know enough about how to tell if someone's head is screwed on properly or not. It's still important to let them explore and learn the odd rough lesson on their own. You constantly weighing in on how much you disapprove of their so only drives them further to them. Although you don't want to be too late to interfere if things are getting a little too out of control. Like that dad who killed his daughter's boyfriend for getting her into hard drugs and ruining her life. Don't let it get there. At the end of the day, no one can get them to break up except themselves. They have to learn what's best for them and figure it out on their own. Don't meddle too much. My 5-year-old has a boyfriend that's in her class and I honestly don't know how I feel. I've met him and he's a sweet kid. But JFC she's like his beer wench. Edit. The beer wench comment is sarcasm. Apologies if that didn't come across. Is he a lager or ale guy? I feel excited for them. It's that wonderful time at the start of a new relationship and it's exciting to see them happy and enjoying this new experience. It's still quite new for me and them, so as a parent I'm still learning. I've been fine with all the people I've been introduced to so far. Maybe as I know that the likelihood is these relationships won't last, so for me it's not an issue if I don't take to them. Time will tell once their relationships become more serious. One kid started dating at 15. Dates all through college. Never broke up and been married 8 years, so you never know. I am nice to my son's girlfriend and my daughter's boyfriend. It's not my job to have an opinion on who they choose. If it all goes belly up, I'm there to support them until the next one goes wrong. Rinse and repeat until they find their one or I'm dead. I've been the hated boyfriend for no reason. It really sucks and affects the relationship. My ex makes no secret of her opinions on the kids' partners. The only thing that does is stops them talking to her about issues they have in their relationships. It's not up to me to like them. It's up to her. If she does, then I do. I care that my daughter is safe, happy, motivated, handling her own business. Apart from that, I'm just enjoying watching her experience things and hoping she includes me in some of that. Ducking like and subscribe.